It's an honor to be here at this conference. We have a special place in our hearts for AUB and our colleagues there. I'm grateful to the Center I'm grateful to the Center for Arts and Humanities and the History Department I graduated from. I have so much affection for those in it. I particularly would like to thank Professor Abdul Rahim Hussein, Professor Samir Sayyadi, Professor Nadia Sheikh, and I have special appreciation for Dr. Makram Rabah, what he has accomplished already and what it will mean to generations of students in the future. I also would like to mention, before starting the talk, the gratitude I and so many others have for scholars before us who made us who we are. In particular, I would like to single out Dr. Kamal Sabibi, Karim Rafiq, for their outstanding training and their understanding of Lebanon, Syria, and the region as a whole. An examination of the particular role of the Druze in a larger, major civil conflict in 19th century Lebanon and Syria shows that sectarian and stereotypes of sectarian disputes regarding these issues during that period do not fall with the realities on the ground. While sectarian issues did surface in periods of great conflict, class issues and struggles for power were also very important, if not more dominant. The Civil War of 1860, alongside other civil wars and wider conflicts in the region, proves this to be true. The point I will make in the paper. It is to the advantage of outsiders, and so sometimes even certain local groups, to highlight sectarian disputes and rivalries, but there were other issues at hand. In fact, the Civil War of 1860, the most important conflict in Mount Lebanon and Damascus during the 19th century, is evidence that different sects helped one another in times of conflict and provided relief to their so-called rivals. Maintaining a sense of local cooperation at times of great stress is crucial to survival, which explains why, more often than not, sects do get along in Lebanon and the Syrian history, and that is often real. Working on the Civil War of 1860, I looked at how the economic transformations of the 19th century were important, including the conflict of peasants and lords, the impoverishment of guilds and members, the use of steamship navigation in transforming the lines of the economy, the building of the Beirut-Damascus Road, which so many historians have talked about, the competitiveness of European goods on local markets, the decline of local textiles and industries, the continued membership of mixed religious groups, all highlight expertise rather than religious affiliation or dislike. The importance of focusing on expertise is essential to understanding where we are. So the background was that in the 19th century, Europe devastated the balanced traditional economy and society of the region. The competitiveness of European goods resulted in the diminishing role of locally produced goods and included a decline of wages, layoffs, bankruptcies, and lots of other issues that affected journeymen, masters, and others. The increase of foreign goods had caused the decline of local manufacturers, in contrast to the impoverished craftsmen were an emerging local middlemen and entrepreneurs became very significant in dealing with European goods and making fortunes. So you have those who are losing jobs and those who for the first time are making fortunes. The disparity in wealth between the haves and the have-nots coincided with a changing relationship between the religious communities. The Christians were favored in the last few decades by Egyptian rule in the 1830s and on, which allowed them to build churches and disregard many earlier limitations, even the way to dress, etc. The Maronites played a very important role in the troops of Emir Bashir the Second in Mount Lebanon and helped the Egyptian troops quell revolts in Syria in the 1830s, 34 to 38. Also, the Ottoman Declaration of Equality among all subjects, 1839, 1856 edicts, was not well received by Muslim conservatives. The Muslims were further displeased by the Ottoman application of conscription on Muslims only. All of this eventually led to the 1860 events. So you have to look at sources and excuses along the time. In the period between 1850 and 1860, peasant revolts occurred in Mount Lebanon and also in urban ways in the riots in Aleppo and Damascus. The peasant revolts first appeared among the Maronites in the Kisruan region, where Maronite peasants, headed by a Maronite blacksmith, Daniel Shaheen, rose against the Maronite landed families. This uprising could not be exploited religiously, in that what happened there involved people of the same sect, not unlike other areas. In the South, there was more a mix of population with Druze and Maronites angry at their landlords, with the majority of whom were Druze. The revolt was exploited by religious people interested in religion, but if you look at it carefully, it is clear that it was very different from the north. The initial war was not a particularly coordinated campaign, but rather consisted of acts of banditry, vandalism, and crime. It occurred in the absence of a police force, which only was established later with the peace, in an environment where communities policed themselves and troops guarded the borders, although irregulars would then join in the looting and chaos that spread across the mountain. The spread of conflict led to specific retaliations. If a Catholic priest was found dead, it was assumed to be at the hands of the Druze. The dead Druze were likewise immediately pinned on Maronites. This cycle of retaliation thus became self-fulfilling. The Civil War itself began with the arrival of Christian Ismailis and Zahidis, which was interpreted as a provocative gesture by the Druze. But in the same way, the Christians saw the arrival of Ottoman forces as threatening, believing them to intend to support the Druze, which was not the case. The misinterpretation of intention was rampant, with the Christians especially interpreting any act on the Ottoman part as hostile and in conjunction with the Druze. Even Ottoman attempts to limit action and restore order were read as a tacit support to their opponents, the Druze, where initially Christians welcomed the war, even if they blamed the other side for its successes and enthusiasm. They discovered that it was not so simple. As their preparations, ineffectiveness, and internal divisions became apparent, the Christians adopted a narrative of self-defense. The contrast with other primary accounting, including from Europeans, who at the beginnings of the war blamed the Christians for a lot, including the Maronites. So this contrast with other narratives, including from Europeans, showed the Christians to have been aggressors with conviction against Druze people, and that the leadership of the Druze and their organization highlighted their increasing success. Even as the Druze pressed their advantages, their moves became strategic and not necessarily sectarian. An example, of course, is a well-known one of Naif and Shamdar and the Druze of Rashalia, where offers of cross-confessional sympathy was very important because it fitted the way things used to be done. It was very common for groups to get along across religious lines and sectarian lines. The fall of Zahle marked the apex of the conflict, and the actions of the Druze forces thereafter, having effectively won, they won the war, only fueled the narrative of the Christians as victims. Christian refugees flooded Beirut, and with them tales of the war. Much as the initial tensions had not been coordinated, the loss of control in Beirut came not from planning, but from accident, happiness. Order was reinforced by Ottoman rifle and legitimized by negotiations between the Pasha and the European consuls. Chaos came also to Damascus, with news of the Christian defeats in Mount Lebanon, fueling rumors throughout the city in Damascus, attributing various unsubstantiated demands to each side. Tense relations in the city reached back decades in the granting of special privileges to the Christians during the Egyptian occupation of the 1830s. But unlike the Maronites and the mountain situation, Muslims predominated in Damascus, and their fears of Christians was a proxy for mistrust in the European foreign religions. The Christian population swelled with refugees, demoralizing locals who were all ill-prepared to deal with such numbers. Notables of the city, regardless of faith, gave the charity that they could. Celebrations of the Druze victories in Zahle only worsened relations. The violence in Damascus erupted, as in Mount Lebanon, not through intention, but through misunderstanding. All sides, you can see I'm having trouble seeing with the light. All sides poured into the city with the Muslims surrounding the Christian quarter and beginning the riots. Entry to the Christian quarter saw not just the destruction of houses of worship and homes, but the targeting of European consulates and missions as well, recalling that hostility within the city towards Christians was in part a proxy for Europeans. So we're arguing that the problem was not only between the local sects, but between their relations, their different relations with Europe that had gone even more to one side than the other. Those targeted hid where they could in European missions, and they hid with sympathetic upper-class Muslim neighbors who took their side and defended them, and did a lot to keep the situation not as bad as it could be. While religion served as a catalyst to whip up the emotions of the masses, the riots were not motivated, this article implies, by religious fanaticism. The poor Christians in the Midan quarter of Damascus, for example, who lived in harmony with their Muslim neighbors and even shared the same houses with them, were not molested in the upheavals, nor were the Jews molested then. They had been earlier, but not then. Amir Abdul Qadir al-Jazairi and many Damascene notables saved as many Christians as they could, proving that religious tolerance was valid. Hasibi, the famous
Yeah, just the microphone, please. I cannot hear it.
Hasibi, you can hear me now?
I mean, you know. Yes.
Sayyid Muhammad Abdul Saud al-Hasibi was right in lamenting the disappearance of a world of tradition dominated by established families, and its replacement by a world of upstarts where the old no longer commanded respect. Our Kamal Salihi was equally right in inferring that the upheavals had been to a great extent a reaction to the attempt of the Ottoman administration to implement the principles of the Tanzimat. So, to sum up, the local populations, for their part, soon put the events behind them. We don't hear of further problems for a very long time. They put the problems and the events behind them. And they resorted to new patterns of commercial advantages. Commerce made the situation better. Local manufacturers pooled resources and began to go back to partnerships across religious lines and across divides of the soul. What mattered was the return to cooperation, the dominant theme of our history in the region. Most of the time, in 400 years of living together under one great regime, most of the time, the dominant theme of our history has been one of cooperation. And the stress now, because it's convenient to televisions in America and elsewhere, to focus on how nobody gets along. This is not true in the minds of those who take the trouble to read this.